A man stumbles through the early morning mist of Tyson Park, the silence broken only by his footsteps and the faint rustle of leaves. He thinks he's found a wounded animal at first, something twisted, something not quite human. But as he draws closer, his breath catches. What he sees stops him cold. This isn't just a murder. This is a ritual. Lying motionless on the frozen earth is the mutilated body of a young girl. Blood drenches her clothes and pools around her, seeping into the dirt. Her face is barely recognizable, her body brutalized beyond belief. Then he sees it, etched into her chest with something sharp, the pentagram. He chokes back bile and fumbles for his phone. The weight of what he's witnessing crushes him. On today's episode, we plunge into the harrowing case of Christa Pike, America's youngest woman on death row. What drove an 18-year-old girl to murder with such savagery that even seasoned officers struggled to stomach the scene? Why was Colleen Slimmer the target? And what dark obsession fueled Christa's descent into madness? Let's go back to where the darkness began. Born into dysfunction on March 10, 1976, in West Virginia, Christa Pike never stood a chance. Her mother, Carissa, cared more for booze and bad company than for her daughter. Her father, gone without a trace, starting over with a new family, one Christa would never be allowed to join. By the time she was crawling through filth, literal piles of garbage and dog waste. At 14 months old, when Christa suffered a seizure, her mother shrugged it off to keep drinking at a bar. Her aunt remembers walking into the house and finding a child barely alive in a home barely habitable. The only light in Christa's early life came from her grandmother, who offered her a rare dose of love and stability. When she died in 1988, Christa shattered. Days later, she tried to end her life. Her spiral had begun. By the time she hit her teens, Christa was no longer a neglected child. She was a firestorm of rebellion. Drugs, violence, threats. At 12, she threatened one of her mom's boyfriends with a butcher knife. The same man, incidentally, had whipped her. No one in her life seemed to want her, only to control her. Eventually, Christa enrolled in Job Corps, a vocational program for struggling youth. That's where she met Colleen Slimmer. Colleen was everything Christa wasn't: bright, kind, and hopeful. She didn't come from trauma. She came from love. That made her dangerous. Colleen had no idea she was walking into a storm. Christa, who had found a toxic romantic connection with a boy named Tatterall Ship, became convinced that Colleen wanted to steal him. Her paranoia turned into rage. Fueled by their shared obsession with Satanism, Christa and Tatterall began fantasizing about violence. Colleen didn't know she was already marked. January 12, 1995. Christa approaches Colleen, smiling for the first time in weeks. She offers a peace treaty, a walk, a movie, some weed. Colleen, relieved, agrees. That night, 4 teens disappear into the woods. Only 3 come out. The moment they reach the clearing, everything changes. Christa turns, eyes burning. She accuses Colleen of betrayal, of seduction, of treachery. Colleen backs away, confused, pleading. Then Christa attacks. What happens next is not a fight. It's an execution. Colleen screams. Christa beats her, kicks her, slashes her with a box cutter and a borrowed meat cleaver. For nearly an hour, Colleen is hunted through the woods by a girl who once called her a classmate. She begs for her life. Christa tells her to shut up. And when Colleen tries to run one last time, bleeding, broken, Christa picks up a piece of asphalt and smashes her skull. Then, she carves a pentagram into Colleen's chest. The next day, police find Colleen's body, ritualized, defiled, displayed. What they don't expect is that the killer comes to them. Christa shows up to the crime scene, smiling, joking, wearing a necklace with the same pentagram carved into Colleen. She asks the officers, "Did she suffer?" She laughs when they answer. Back at Job Corps, her classmates are horrified. Christa had bragged, told everyone what she did. She even saved the jeans, still soaked in blood. The case builds itself. Christa is arrested. She confesses, in chilling, casual detail. Christa's trial is quick. Her defense points to mental illness, childhood trauma, abuse. The prosecution points to the cleaver, the pentagram, the laughter. She is found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to death. At just 20 years old, Christa Pike becomes the youngest woman on death row in modern U.S. history. But her story doesn't end there. In 2001, she attacks another inmate, trying to strangle her to death with a shoelace. In prison, she plots escapes. She forms disturbing relationships with outsiders. Her mind fractures under the pressure of isolation. Her lawyers file appeals, desperate to save her life. But nothing changes the fact that Christa didn't just kill someone, she hunted her. Today, Christa sits alone in the Deborah K. Johnson Correctional Facility, her cell barely larger than a closet, her days spent in silence. The screams she caused are long gone, but the echoes remain. Some say she was a victim before she became a killer. Others say she was always something darker, something far more terrifying. One thing is certain, Colleen Slimmer was in the wrong place, at the wrong time, with the wrong person watching. And that cost her everything.